We have Dixon from Texas on the line. Pronouns are he, him. And Dixon works for a major airline and is wondering about designing uniforms for more than just two genders. That is interesting. Dixon, you are on the line. What you got for us?
Hi, everybody. First of all, thanks for taking my call. I love you. I've been watching the show and learning so much over the years, and I really thank you for that. And I have a million questions and things I'd love to talk to you about, but what's come up recently is I was speaking with our captain in charge of policies and procedures, and we're talking about uniforms. She was suggesting that, maybe we should have two different gender uniforms, and you can just pick whichever one you're going to want to wear for your career. And I thought, well, what about people who are gender fluid or non-binary? And I realized really quickly that we have no idea what we're doing, and we're two cisgendered people trying to figure this out. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts or resources, or know of any other organizations that already had to deal with developing uniforms that customers see, but also are inclusive and accepting and affirming of our team members.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a few ideas, but Christy, go ahead.
No, I'd love to hear yours. I really don't have any great resources. I'd love to be able to point you towards a expert or some organization that has done this really well, but I can't help but feel like right now the kind of model for how to deal with this is just to put everybody in very bland unisex khakis and polos.
Right. The first thing I thought of was
I'd like to live in a better world than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Laura, if you want to.
No, I was just agreeing with Christy. My first thought was, well, the military and the police, they just have very androgynous uniforms and they just don't highlight male or female either way. But then you talk about professionals, when you talk about like airlines, there's sort of a like a cut to the outfits that they want it to be a little bit more sleek and slender and a little bit more professional looking. That might not work for that kind of.
I don't know that I don't know if I agree. I think there's a way that you could offer just more than pants or skirt. I think you could quite easily offer just a line, a range, a specific set of company approved clothing, right? Whether it be a tapered shirt, whether it be pants that flare at the bottom, whether it be a vest, whether it be a cardigan, all sporting the company colors with, similar lines or what have you. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could innovate with company clothing and have it done in a unisex way. Like it doesn't even have to be male or female. It's just about whatever size you take, right? There's a lot of different possibilities there. What do you think about that, Dixon?
I think those are all really great ideas. And, in my mind, my initial thought was, well, we just go to a kind of, like you're saying, bland unisex uniform. But I remember one show, Christy, saying that, I enjoy my gender and, I take pride in it, and sometimes I want to play with it. And other people should be able to have that, even though that's maybe not what I want. But, I realize now that, people think differently than me, and we need to allow for that. I think we have a big task on our hand, but, if we can show future generations and slowly make an improvement and show that everybody's included in this industry, we can make things better in this world.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I love that you're actually calling in to ask this question, because these are the things that we need to be talking about. And if I could just suggest again, like, think about how many different cuts there are just for a pair of jeans. I realize airline employees are more likely to be wearing, slacks, but you've got your tapered edge, you've got your pleated, you've got your tight waisted, how many different cuts of shirt are there? So many. Like some folks
I
like
went to
the
a
big
school with uniforms, and we had some variety. We had some options. There were different types of skirts. There were different types of pants. And yeah, I think giving people that sort of like unified aesthetic of a uniform while also letting them sort of choose from the catalog is not an unreasonable ask.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I really, really love that idea.
Those
And
are
I'm
all
also
really great
curious,
ideas.
Dixon. I'm curious if you guys have sort of a feedback program or any sort of like suggestion box within like the company for employees, because you could put out there like, hey, we're soliciting your guys' feedback. We want to know what you want, and then try to capture some of what the demographic wants. Because you might be surprised at what people are willing to say. Like, hey, I'd really be more comfortable with pants that are like more stretchy and less rigid or whatever, you know. And it might not have anything to do with gender. It might have to do with comfort. But having that like that open and accepting like feedback loop, you might get a lot more information about like what they want.
Yeah, and I know whenever we do uniform resets, they do take in considerations like that, but of course, cost is always the biggest consideration. But I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't think it's too
Maybe.
out of out of the realm of possibility to ask a big airline to have a few different options for pants, a few different options for shirts. Like, I went to a Catholic high school and they could do it.
Right, and the thing is, we have different options now, but they still are categorized male, female, and I think that needs to be blurred and opened.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways that you could do that. Just by having, one style blend into other styles without necessarily having to offer it in the binary sense, right? You can just say, "Hey, pants. Hey, shirts." Like,
that was
it
my
doesn't need
thought.
to be
Like,
just
from a leadership standpoint, as you're like setting these parameters, I think allowing people to blend categories, so to speak, is perhaps the best thing that you can offer, so that somebody may have a like masculine cut pant and perhaps a more feminine cut t-shirt or shirt or whatever is appropriate there, allowing people to not feel obligated to wear like the men's tie exclusively with the men's shirt, or however that might operate for y'all's organization. Allowing people to blur those lines, I think, is maybe the best policy or the best thing that you may be able to put forward here.
Those are all great ideas. I really thank you for helping me think about this in new ways.
Yeah, well,
Dixon, are you in the Atheist Community Discord?
I am not. I am, even though I'm technically knowledgeable, for some reason I have not tried Discord yet, but I need to.
You should, because it just dawned on me. Somebody was in there in the gender and sexuality channel. It was a couple of weeks ago. I'd have to scroll up for about 3 hours to find it. But somebody was talking about non-binary clothing designers. So I don't, I think there's a real chance that you could probably get get a professional to weigh in on this with different cuts and different options for you, and it wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg, or wouldn't cost the airline an arm and a leg. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think I'm going to have to build the courage and break that technology barrier and do it.
It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. It's super simple. I figured it out, and I'm not tech savvy at all. It's basically like the old chat apps. I don't know if you remember, like MSN or ICQ or anything like that from back in the day.
It does have like an AOL Instant Messenger vibe.
Yeah.
I will say though, if you're on Facebook at all or any of the other platforms, how I got on Discord was somebody walked me through it because I could not figure it out. So if you're not on Discord but want to get on, I know that there's people in the community who you just throw it into chat or up on a post somewhere, and they'll walk you through it.
All right, I'm going to have to try that. I thank you for all those ideas, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Cool.
Absolutely. You have a great night. Thank you so much for giving us a call.
Yeah, thank you, and keep up the good work. You've taught me a lot over the years, and it's making a difference at least with me.
Hey,
awesome.
That's great to hear.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
It's so nice to hear that cisgendered people, of which I am one, of course, but it's so nice to hear that we can consider others, right? And work towards that inclusivity. That's, even though it doesn't affect me, it's still important to me. I love that
Mm-hmm.
mentality. I
I
love
love
it.
that. I was gonna say like the hardest part about all of this, I think, is already done if what I'm understanding is correct. Because the policy change and the culture change is really what's the hardest. And once that's done,
Yeah.
finding the companies and doing the research, like it is a pain and it can be confusing, but it really is a lot easier. So if your airline is already that inclusive and their policies reflect that, then you're already way ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
True.
definitely true.